Welcome to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspaces. The Headspaces are a series of thoughts and musings I have during the course of the week, and I chew all over them and I bring them to you. And this week's Headspace is called, Has World War III Begun? And who's really behind it? So before I jump into this week's Headspace, I would like to say it's so nice to be back. I had a couple of weeks off. I probably could do with a few more weeks if I'm honest, but the show must go on. And in that time frame, I have been working, relaxing, but my YouTube channel has been moving in a very fabulous fashion. Yes, my dears, I have 572 subscribers. So I've actually hit my ambition, which was to have 1,500 subscribers, and now I'm moving that towards 2,000. So if you're hearing this, please do go over to my YouTube channel and click the notification bell and select all, so that anything I upload, you'll get a chance to see and hear it. In addition to that, you might want to make a donation on my website, which is called deniseheadley.com, and I accept fiat and I also accept cryptocurrency. So please do hop over there and make a donation. Now that we've done all of that, let's chew over this question of whether World War III has begun. And what I said firstly was this: has World War III begun because Israel has struck Iran? And who's actually behind it? And the reason that's important is because I was listening to an interview that Kemi Badenoch gave to Trevor Phillips on his Sunday political program on Sky News last week. And what she said in there is that we need to get serious. I'll play it for you in a second. We need to get serious, she says. Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK. Now, the reason that's interesting and the reason that I want to bring that to your attention is that if Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, who then was behind this particular exercise of firing on Iran? Let's listen to Kemi and see what she's got to say. It's also interesting as a slight sidebar that she speaks about the proxy wars that we in the West fund. And she also cites the Ukraine. Listen to what she says.
Israelis,
yes, but it's all related. Who funds Hamas? Iran. An enemy of this country. An enemy of this country. Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, just like Ukraine is on behalf of the West of Western Europe against Russia. We have to get serious. We have to get serious.
That clip is vitally important for a number of reasons. If we try just for 1 minute and not think about the attack on Iran, which effectively was a declaration of war by Israel on Iran, just think about what she is saying to you as a member of the British public. She is saying to you, it's an understanding that the Israeli state fights proxy wars for this country. They support proxy positions for this country. So what has Israel been involved in on behalf of the UK establishment so that they can reach their objectives? And that's something for you to think about in relation to where we are today. So at the top of my headspace, I asked the question, are we at the point of World War III and who's behind it? Well, I think who's behind that is the British establishment, yes. Obviously, according to Ms. Badenoch, she's just told you that Israel fights proxy wars on the behalf of the UK. So we are supporting this. And who else is in support of this act, in my opinion, is the United States. Because there's no way in which the Israeli state could effectively engage in a preemptive strike on Iran without the green light from the US. I'm going to play you an insert from an interview with a man called Scott Ritter. Scott Ritter used to be a weapons inspector and he's now a commentator. He was in the US military. Let's listen to what he has to say. The question is being asked, was America involved?
I ask you if the United States authorized this, and notwithstanding what Trump said publicly many times, according to this, the United States did.
Not just authorized it, Judge. We planned it. This is a joint plan between the United States and Israel that's been in the works for over a year, continuously updated with intelligence. What the president just did here is undermine American legitimacy, credibility, and shows that America is incapable of serious diplomatic engagement. If I were a Russian, if I were a Chinese diplomat, if I were anybody in the world, what this proves is that America is a two-faced liar, and Donald Trump is a two-faced liar. He's been promoting a negotiation track with Iran he was never serious about. There can be no doubt now, Judge, that the United States and Israel conspired to make this attack happen. If you take a look at, the recent statements made prior to this attack, where Trump was saying, the sixth round on Sunday is critical. This is where we have to make a deal, make or break. And the Israelis said, we will withhold any decision about an attack until after Sunday, till after we see what's going on. And the Iranians were preparing for a decisive round of negotiations. The Iranians were serious about negotiating. The United States wasn't.
The reason I played that clip there is because I think the beginning of World War III is upon us. And that's a terrible thing to say, but I believe it is. I believe that the Middle East is going to be the catalyst for a wider conflict, which is going to have unforeseen consequences. You just heard Mr. Ritter say that this is Iran's Pearl Harbor. And for those of you who don't know what happened after Pearl Harbor, that was when America, I think, entered the war. Because it was a direct strike and it was a direct attack on American soil. Now, the important question that we now need to consider is what Iran is going to do and how Iran perceives this. Because as far as I can see, this is, in my opinion, a declaration of war by Israel with the hope that America runs in to save them yet again. What I'm going to play you is an interview by a man called Professor Marandi. I would love to get him on my show. Don't worry, darlings, I'll be working on it. But he, at the moment, is one of the foremost commentators on Iran. This is what he said hours after the attack. Expect the usual Western framing of Iran as the aggressor. So here we go, Professor Marandi on Sky News Today.
Iran has recently taken steps to weaponize enriched uranium and said that if not stopped, a nuclear weapon could be produced in a very short time. What's your reaction to that?
I think you know this as well as I, that Netanyahu has been saying Iran is on the verge of making nuclear weapons for over 30 years. For 30 years. It's very well documented. And I think many of your viewers know that. He is a genocidal liar. And what else do you expect from an ethno-supremacist like him and his colleagues? The Iranians are a member of the NPT, and the International Atomic Energy Agency, as we speak, has people in Iran who monitor Iran's program. The very same site that he bombed has IAEA inspectors in it regularly. So obviously he's lying. There's no evidence that Iran in the past was producing a nuclear weapon, but the Israeli regime does have nuclear weapons. And the Israeli regime has carried out aggression against Iran. And it has murdered senior officials, and it has murdered many civilians. The images that you see don't need confirmation, do they? You can see that's a taxi, right? Those are civilians. Again, you may need a few weeks to get confirmation for all this. Just like in Gaza, when they were bombing hospitals, Sky News was trying to say that the Palestinians mistakenly bombed their own hospitals. That's how it works in the West. The narrative is pro-Israeli, but I think the world knows what's happening. This was an unprovoked attack. Your journalist in Palestine, in occupied Palestine, can gloat all he wants, but the Iranians will respond. Iran will respond and punish the Israeli regime, because now the only way forward is to teach Netanyahu a lesson and to make sure that the Israeli regime regrets attacking Iran, Iranians, women, and children, and infrastructure that is legitimate and which is monitored regularly.
The important thing about what Professor Marandi is saying is that Iran has a legitimate right to respond to an act of aggression. This was a preemptive strike on the basis that the lead time for the creation of a nuclear weapon could be weeks away. But the reality is, as Professor Marandi said, that Israel does have nuclear weapons, and they have been propagating this propaganda about Iran for the last 30 years. Iran does have inspectors. They have had people who are inspecting their nuclear armaments. They are part of the treaties that Israel is not part of. Israel is not part of, I think it's called the IAPT, which is the where you go and have a look, or the weapons inspectors go and have a look. I have to look for the right phraseology, but there's essentially, it's a body that monitors proliferation, what you're doing with it. Israel's not part of it. And why should Iran not have self-determination to decide what it wants to do within its own national borders? Why is that the concern of Israel? Why is Israel consistently using Iran as an existential threat to advance its own objectives in the Middle East? So is this the tipping point? Is this the beginning of a tipping point? Is this the beginning of World War III? Because as we know, these conflicts have unforeseen circumstances. And at the top of this headspace, I played you Kemi Badenoch. Kemi Badenoch said, we are engaged in proxy wars as a country. That is our policy. She's not going to come in as a leader of the opposition and not know what the standard policy is. And that's an important thing to say and to establish. We need to drop the pretense. Like she said, we need to get serious.
Who funds Hamas? Iran. An enemy of this country. An enemy of this country. Israel is fighting a proxy war on behalf of the UK, just like Ukraine is on behalf of the West of Western Europe against Russia. We have to get serious. We have to get serious.
So what do you think? Do you think that this is the tipping point, the beginning of a wider conflict, which effectively will be the precursor to World War III? Do you agree with me that the UK, the United States, are behind the state of supporting Israel to the extent where they create opportunities, they fund opportunities? I mean, we've even heard this week that IDF soldiers are being trained in this country. Yeah, that's what's going on in this country under Keir Starmer people. That's who you put in. But essentially, what do you think about that? What do you think about the fact that the UK has been involved in the systematic attack on a foreign country? Essentially, Iran. And also on the people of Gaza, if I'm going to widen it out now. But that's the point I'm making. We need to have a much more clear conversation without the fluff, without the pretense about what's going on. And what you have at the moment is many people in the Conservative Party, I might add, actually saying and speaking those truths. So do you agree with Kemi Badenoch? Do you even accept what she said, which is that the UK funds Israel so it can fight proxy wars on its behalf? What's your thoughts about that? Do you think this is the beginning of World War III? And do you accept that America cannot be trusted diplomatically? So when they say to you, oh, let's sit down and have a peace deal, hashtag Ukraine, Mr. Putin, everybody knows that's a joke. What's your thoughts? Jump up on the podium, give me your 2 pence, your 3 cities, or your declining dollar price. You ever listen to the Headley Highlight Show's Headley Headspace? Thank you for your listening ear. Don't forget to make a donation at deniseheadley.com, and also go over to my YouTube channel, press the notification bell and select all. See you next week and cut.